I'm ChosenArchitect, and this is Stoneblock 4. Last episode, things got a little bit wild as we went and entered into a portal vault from this guy behind me, the Wayfinder. And I completed all of the Wayfinder's tasks for right now, and today we've got other tasks to, well, work on. We also set up a mob farm last episode, towards the end of the episode, and we are building up experience because today is going to be all about sort of enchanting and getting ourselves a little bit stronger, as I also want to take on the Nether area. Now, some things today that are going to make this whole process easier is the mob farm that we set up last episode. So if you did miss this, be sure to check out the portal episode at the end. I did set up what, in my opinion, is probably one of the most optimal setups for a mob farm that utilizes a 3x3 space. Very, very simple, and it produces a ton, and I mean a ton of mobs and a ton of experience. We're already at 174 levels in here, and all of these items have built up, and I haven't even put any sort of like fortune on this thing. This is just what it's generated without fortune. So today we should be able to take our basic diamond gear and level it up, hopefully, into netherite gear. And we should be able to also throw some Apotheosis things on it, I think. See, all of the basic gear that I have gotten through loot and stuff like that, I have equipped. And by doing so, I was able to hit Control and T, and this allowed me to get to Frontier tier. I just needed to basically put all uncommon gear on and have an uncommon weapon, and that's it. And I was able to activate this. Now, our next one is going to require uncommon. I think this one was just common, right? So this one requires uncommon, which is like the green color. Then this one's going to require rare, which is the blue. And then you end up getting into the epic and needing to defeat the dragon and all kinds of other stuff. So there are some restrictions here. Now, once I did that, I have now gotten arcane sands from these bosses who are dropping gear that have nice stuff on it. And this is getting automatically turned into sands. We actually need this sand today. This is how we're going to be able to upgrade our gear and allow us to actually craft a reforging table, which is going to be super nice, by the way. Now, before I go any further, I should also talk about this and how we're going to be able to get up into this magical shelf. Because last episode, we also found out, hey, yeah, we need these deep shelves. We're going to have to level these things up. To be able to get these, we are going to need some gas tiers. A way we can get gas tiers is by going and looting the Nether area. So I think setting up some sort of a basic enchanting area is going to be a pretty good idea. We do have the enchantment library, which we were able to purchase. We have all of these levels, and now we have the ability to reforge. So yes, I think we're looking pretty darn good. We also have some Netherack from being able to go into that area that we can actually just brush. So let's take a brush, by the way. Also, I am able, after leveling this guy up, to get Unbreaking 3 brushes. This guy just sells regular brushes to me, which is kind of convenient. Anytime I just need a regular brush, I can just grab one. Also, I'm probably going to want a wand. I should probably make a diamond version of this, but we can place this down and then I can just brush it. And I'm at level 4, so I should get a few things. I get some blaze powder. I also get netherite scrap from doing this, and some sulfur. And I have to do it by hand for right now, as I don't think I have the ability just yet to make an unearther to be able to do it. But this is how I'm going to get my early game scrap. I've got to get quite a bit of this. Now, something we're going to need for the enchantment table after getting all of that netherite scrap is going to be, well, books. I'm going to need quite a few books, I think. So let's make some snad, and then we can use create, which I just love that create added this. This is probably one of the best items that create has added. The pulse timer. Oh, the pulse timer is such a nice item. So we can use this and actually pulse some sand, and we should be able to grow sugarcane incredibly fast. We just need a little bit of water. Probably put this setup in here. We also need something that can kind of break, or we can use like a piston and observer to be able to get a bunch of sugarcane. So I'm thinking a little setup like this with a little bit of water. We use snad, not sand, snad specifically, right here. And then in front of that, we want to pulse snad with a redstone signal. And we'll set this to every 2 ticks, so it's pulsing really, really fast. And then we can actually cover this with a barrel from like functional storage. And we want to collect into that barrel with an item collector. There is a collector upgrade, but the item collector lets us be a little bit more specific. And we'll just place that barrel on top. I love how it actually turned the thing sideways. Okay, that works just fine. We'll take one for the filter, place that in here, put an upgrade on this. And I do actually want to rotate this the correct way. So let's place the sugarcane down right here. You can see how fast it grows. We'll place this here, and then we just need, like I said, something that can break this sugarcane for us. And honestly, a simple block breaker, I think, will do it from Just Dire Things. This should be able to work really, really easy. Does this need to hold something in order to function? I think we can put literally anything in there. Yeah, anything will work. And then we can drop the speed down to every tick. And then we just need to expand this area to be sure it can actually collect all of the stuff. And so that, yeah, that should be able to almost instantaneously collect everything as soon as it gets broken. And voila, we now have unlimited sugarcane. Yeah, pretty easy as well. Also, I wonder how effective these sound muffler blocks are. It says mute sounds within a 8-block radius. Like, it's not super effective, is it? Huh. Looks like I need to add a filter up here to our area that exists here. Like the break sound, I think it's what it's called. It's one of these sounds. Oddly enough, yeah, it's the break grass sound. I don't know why, but that's the sound it makes. Now with this and all of the leather that's actually been generated from our mob farm, making books is going to be really easy. And we're going to need as many books as we can. So like a stack of them is going to be good for right now. Now the enchantment table has an interesting mod that is in here. If you're familiar with like the Apotheosis spawners, there's actually a custom mod in here that allows you to increase the distance that the enchantment table can look for enchantment tables, which I think is pretty cool. So we can increase the height. We can also increase the X and Y value right here using lapis or what have you. I think that's pretty cool. So it can technically have a larger looking range, which as of right now is a 5x2x5, but we can have it look for other things out in the distance. I mean, let's try this out. For example, if I shift right click, this now does a 7x7. Now it's a 7x7 full. So this should go out to this block. And if I shift right click and I put these on, now it should be able to go out to here. So, I mean, it should accept bookshelves technically going all the way out in this distance. At least I would think so, because this is the standard 5. We add it here and now add it out here. Okay, perfect. So bookshelves, and we can go up to 2 high as of right now. This also means that we can put bookshelves up here, for example, and like we can just decorate this area a little bit more. Like we don't have to be anything, we don't have to do anything crazy. You just kind of throw some bookshelves in and it's just, it should work. Okay, we now should have level 30 enchants. As you can see right here, it works perfect with those books lining the walls. Also, by the way, I probably want to shut this farm off. So let's go ahead and do that. We can give it a signal that'll prevent the breaker from working, and we no longer hear the noise, because I think we have enough for right now. Now, ripping enchants off is something that you can do in here, but it does look like it requires a draconic block or draconium block in order to do so, or at least that's the intended way to do it. But there are other mods in here that allows us to rip enchants, but I kind of want to go about it the like vanilla old-fashioned way, where we just make multiple sets of diamond gear and we use like a grindstone to grind enchants off just to get a basic gear set that I think is going to be helpful for at least getting through the nether section and hopefully surviving a bit better than last time. And so early on, I think my process is going to go as such. Give myself some levels, which from this guy, we could set it up or set up another one and transfer levels over to it to constantly give me a charge. That might be a good idea. I probably should make another one of these enchantment holders so I can put it right here to constantly keep us at a certain level. Do you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm placing this one down and we're going to set this to ignored. And then what I want is I want to set its position to be like right up here, right against this. And so I've got to move this around and I should be able to get it right into position. So that way, when I'm standing in this position, which is right here, it will then give me XP. So we do want it to be set into a specific amount. So our target level is going to be 45. And I think we have to manually set this. We hold shift. We can set it to like 45 or whatever level we actually want to keep ourselves at. We can set it to 0 ticks, ignored, and then collect experience. I do think we need on, and this should give me levels if we have levels to receive. So let's go ahead and retrieve a bunch of levels here. And if I walk into this, it's going to pull the experience from me and store it in here, but also keep me at that specific level that I set here. And so if I want to be really optimal, I can say, okay, make sure you maintain me at this current time at level 30 specifically. That is going to be very helpful here and is going to make it so that way I can enchant at max level. I can go, okay, projectile protection. I mean, that's okay, I guess. And we can continue enchanting our pieces of gear. I'm like, okay, that's regular protection. That's kind of lame. I'm going to rip protection off and I'm going to retry, right? And we'll just continue. If that piece of gear is not good, I can try something else and just keep continuing this. And notice though, I'm constantly being refilled at 30, making this process so much faster than normal. Now you may be wondering, what enchants am I looking for? Well, I really want protection 4 at the least. Like at the minimum, I do want protection 4. We did end up getting projectile 4, which is really, really nice. So just having that alone is pretty good, but we can always combine books too. So I just really want a nicer piece of gear that maybe gives me unbreaking. The chances of us getting it, I think, are kind of low just because of the way Apotheosis changes these lower level enchantments. Like without having the higher tier bookshelves, we're not going to get those nicer rolls. Now, after rolling several pieces of gear, I think I have finally gotten what I actually want. Okay, perfect. So here is all of my current gear. So I kind of prioritize projectile protection and protection because we were rolling a lot of projectile protections. I feel like we do get sniped quite a lot inside of these areas. So having some projectile protection is going to be kind of nice. And so that's what I've rolled. We've also got a little bit of mana. I really wasn't prioritizing specifically mana regen and mana for ours, but we did get it actually. And I did also managed to get, I think, a pretty high level of protection that we're going to be able to kind of combine here. All in all, this is going to be a pretty decent set. We are going to need our anvil, and we are going to need to roll this. So this is the stuff that we're going to have to put together. I'm probably going to need more than one anvil, actually, now that I look at it. So let's just put all of this stuff together, kind of combining. I don't think it really matters in our case because we have so much XP. But yes, I do want to prioritize some things. This has fire protection, and I do not want fire protection going into this particular piece of gear. So I am going to put the projectile protection and that on there. You can have two different types of protection with Apotheosis. So projectile and also our protection is going to be combined in this case. And so if we put this together, notice we are not going to receive that fire protection, but it is going to kind of boost up what we currently have. But there is like some orders, right? So in this particular set of gear, we have fire protection and respiration and mana regen. This one we have mana boost, but if I had mana regen, I'd probably want to combine these together if that would also combine to our top level here. After combining, I'd say this is a pretty decent set of gear for as early as I am. But things are about to get even better, right? Because at this point, we should now be able to craft up from Apotheosis the Reforger. So we'll take some of that scrap that we just got, and we can use that scrap to make the Reforging table. And we are going to need a little bit of our Netherack smelted down. So I'll go ahead and take this, get that thrown in, and we need to take some of our new mystical essence here, the arcane sands, in order to craft this. But yes, this arcane sands is also going to be used to upgrade our gear. So let's go ahead and now craft that Reforging table, baby. This right here is going to be so nice. All right, I am going to put that down here, and inside of these slots is where we can throw our gear, but we are going to need a couple of other things that go in the side. And I don't know, do we have the ability to make the sigils? I think so. Oh, 100% we have enough stuff because of all of our gems being destroyed. We get all of this gem dust. And by the way, to kind of explain, inside of Apotheosis, we are going to need these very specific sigils, but the main sigil we need to be able to reforge is the sigil of rebirth. This uses that gem dust and also requires these gem fused slates. So we are going to need a few of those. And then we upgrade that. And this is what's going to allow us to craft individual things. We get 6 of them per craft, so it's not too bad here. But yes, I am going to craft as many as I can for right now. It's going to be pretty useful here. But what I now need to do is go into this. We can put our gear in, put the sands in, and then put the sigil in. And we can now see that we can apothesize our gear. And this is going to add some stats to it. It's going to be a lot better than it was. And it gives us sockets, which is going to make things a little bit more powerful, allowing us to socket gems. Now, the reason these aren't highlighted here is because, well, it does say right here, enchantment levels. It does require us to have 60 levels in our inventory, which is fine. We should be able to get to those levels, but actually I kind of want this. This has a negative 55% burn time, and we're going to be going into, well, a place that we're going to be caught on fire a lot. So this actually might be one of the best ones for us to take at the moment. It also gives us some plus health and luck. And luck is also a really good stat for us to have, allowing us to get better things in chests. So, you know what? I think I'm going to go for this one. And all we have to do is pull the item out, and look at that. It's good to go, right? So we can keep doing this, putting this stuff in. However, we do want to make sure we have at least enough levels to do the base. And I just want to go through these and see which ones are going to be good. Ooh, this can self-cast oak skin for 24. That's really powerful in itself at that low level. Oh man, and we get bonus healing. I think we're going to be looking pretty good once we have this stuff. Gravity, I really don't like that effect. So that may be something. Burst of vitality, but insta health also when attacked. Okay, this one seems really good just for those bonus features we're going to get. Still though, not the biggest fan of the negative gravity. It makes us feel a little bit more floaty, but I don't think we're going to notice it too much on negative 17%. If anything, we can always re-roll this gear later. That is something to keep in mind. You can put it back in here and you can re-roll. Now, between all of these, the middle one on here is the one that is the best, and I'm going to need 60 levels for that. So I'll just give myself 60 levels here, and that should allow me to be able to upgrade that to what I want. Yeah, we're going to get a speed bonus, and speed is really powerful against mobs in dungeons like these. Now, also the middle one on here seems like a really good one. We get plus 3.5 luck. We also get some swim speed. I don't want too much speed, so anything that gives us like 40% speed, that may become a little bit overwhelming. So I'm going to try to avoid that. But keep in mind, you just need at least 60 levels, by the way. It doesn't consume all 60. So yeah, re-rolling this is not a big deal. We could re-roll again, but I think these are some pretty good basic setups here. As my sword goes, I went ahead and upgraded my katana. That is kind of the main thing I do want to be using. And so we're going to end up with sharpness. Also, we get this rift disruptor, which I'm unsure what that does. I really have no idea. Sweeping edge is also not too bad. I would prefer to not have it, but it is nice there. We get a bonus on unbreaking here, and we get a bonus on sharpness when also combining Reaper here. Then we combine these, and we should get sharpness 5, or at least that's the goal. Okay, sharpness 5. Put those two together. Right, I think that's correct. Yeah, look at that. And then I can also do the same thing over here. We'll throw this together, and we'll see what we can get on it. And yet again, I think the middle one is probably one of the better ones for us to get. We're going to get 27% armor shred, and we also get a little bit of knockback on here. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of knockback, but this might actually help in this case with this sword. Just kind of keep enemies back a little bit better. This one has armor pierce though, which I kind of like that one too. But we also lose out on that extra crit damage that we could get. Yeah, I think this one is better. Do we not have enough of the materials? We're missing 8 sigils. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with that one. I'm gonna go with the middle one. That seems pretty decent. By the way, these can also be upgraded into Netherite, which we're gonna be doing very soon. So with this equipped, I think we're looking pretty darn good. Now, notice my FOV just changed dramatically. I'm not a big fan of FOV changes, but you can go into your options and your accessibility, and we should be able to turn down FOV effects. I mean, we can turn them all the way off, so we don't actually encounter changes to our FOV that dramatically change it. If you want a little bit of change, you can do that, but I typically like my FOV to stay relatively the same. I mean, that's the thing that prevents me from getting sick after all. Also, by the way, while we're on the topic of enchanting, I might also want to enchant my, my exchanging gadget with some Silk Touch. Now we have the ability to exchange blocks on demand with Silk Touch because of this. And I also want to take some of this netherite and upgrade my backpack with it. I think this doesn't require a smithing template, does it? Oh no, it does require a smithing template. Ooh, speaking of smithing templates though, we should be able to get that in the dungeon, I think. Also, before we head in there, it might be beneficial if I make a blaze jet wand, or maybe 2. And we also want to probably carry some lava. You know what? Actually, we're going into the nether. We can just drop these items directly into the lava. What am I talking about? Something that is pretty cool about these, we can shift right click and we can go into the air burst settings here by right clicking, and we can set this to a custom keybind. And we can set that keybind, and I like to set mine to a side mouse button, and we can have it activate from the inventory. So I can be using my sword and killing mobs, and I can hit that button to get a dash. And I don't even have to have it in my inventory or in my main part of my hotbar. I do, however, want to keep it in my hotbar because it is going to make life a little bit easier being able to see it. Now, remember those roller skates that I got? I know I can teleport directly to the area, but I do want to follow this line. But look at these roller skates. That's what I was saying. These roller skates are kind of awesome. They also give us the ability to kind of step up blocks, which is really nice. But man, whenever it gets to rolling at like the top speed, this is incredibly so fast at traveling, and like it's not even leveled up all the way, which is even wilder. Now I did open up a couple of these chests, so yes, this was one of the chests I actually opened up when I was adventuring for a little bit of Netherack and soul sand. But yeah, this thing rolled another one of those like special swords, by the way. Window from another realm, and a unique sword here. Very interesting. I wonder, like, what's its ability? Briefly step upon an astral plane, becoming immune to damage for 5 seconds. Oh, wow. Oh, it gives us like some sort of darkness. Will we become immune? That's interesting. It grants the chance to completely avoid incoming damage while wielding. That is a wild thing. Okay, interesting. But yeah, we get a lot of obsidian. I'm going to take this. We also ended up getting a smithing template in this first chest. A bunch of blaze rods. I am happy to take any of that. And leather. I mean, I kind of want a little bit of this. Also, the green ones are the ones that I do need to be looking for. I want to build up a set of that because that moves us into the next tier on our Apotheosis chain. Ooh, and also a splash potion of strength for 8 minutes. I'll take that. That's free. There's also another chest over here. We get a fox spawn egg. Very interesting. And just some random scrap and stuff like that. Now, what am I immediately after? Well, I need technically blaze rods. We do need a lot of blaze rods. Don't get me wrong. But I'm also going to need gas tiers, and we need to be able to find said gas tiers. This could be a little challenging. Now, I'm only really worried about a few different things, okay? So, I'm worried about the brutes. The brutes are pretty rough, and they do hit rather hard. But outside of that, I mean, I'm not super worried about most of these mobs. I think our gear, yeah, I think our gear is going to be pretty good. I have no idea what I just did there, but that just completely annihilated that guy. I don't even know. Oh my goodness, I figured out what the sounds are. They're actually from iron spells. So it's oak skin that is being cast on me that's causing it, and then it's spell divine smite, which are spells that are just being cast at the moment. Whoa, that's so cool. Ooh, look at that. Okay, we got other stone from occultism, but also 4 wither skeleton skulls in like one of these random chests. I'll take. And we got boots. All right, I'm gonna try my best to get through this area. Shouldn't be too difficult. Holy smokes, that effect is crazy. Now this chest had an ironwood helmet. This is from the Twilight Forest. Okay, kind of useful. I don't know. I don't see myself using it, but we got one. And a still leaf chest piece. Okay. Ooh, there's a chest down here. I don't know if these chests down at the bottom are any good, but it's always worth checking, right? There's that one. Oh, I've got to break through this, don't I? And perfect. Gas tiers. Okay, so that's actually what we want. Oh, interesting. Okay, even the one that we went down this stair for has it in it. Okay, now you're probably wondering, why am I even hunting for gas tiers? Okay, so remember inside of the quest, it did mention that we have to get up to the echo tier. Well, my preferred way of actually going about this, believe it or not, is to make hell shelves. And hell shelves, well, they're going to require some of these tiers because we need to make potions of regeneration. And we need about 8 or so of the potions of regeneration to be able to get these hell shelves. I would say 9 gas tiers at a bare minimum. Yeah, I think these towers might have a higher chance. Like, I'm noticing some chests don't have things locked. Ooh, an enchanted golden apple. That's definitely a keeper. But yeah, some of these chests weren't actually locked. I'm kind of surprised. The super nice part about the portal gun is we can just set a portal and be able to go home. I like to do left click as the way to travel, and then right click is to set anchor. So that way I just basically right click if I want to come back home. It's a nice little way. Anywhere I want to go, I can just access it from this point right here. We can just go literally back and forth. No problem. Also, while I am back, I do want to take a look at some of our loot. Like, we ended up getting a spell book. This is a really nice spell book that we get from, I believe, Killing Blazes. And then anything else that's major that we end up getting, a smithing template from the Create Dragons Plus. This is for the Blaze upgrade. And then we also got some smithing templates, which I do want to use right now to actually upgrade my gear. I still, however, am missing more gas tiers. I am going to need more of those, and I'm going to have to loot for those. Now, upgrading these with our smithing template, yeah, it doesn't change anything. It just upgrades it straight to netherite, though. Oh, so nice. And even our sword can be upgraded to netherite. Ah, we're looking fresh now. Look at that netherite katana. Man, I tell you, this sword, absolutely ridiculous. Like, these guys are shooting me, but I'm about to get them. All of them. All in like one go. Oh man, that spell is ridiculous. And we also snare these guys because the sword has snaring on it. I love this thing. Look at this. Boom. It's like a mega attack. It's so nice. And the cooldown's not too long either. Oh yeah, this area really starts to open up here. Look at all these skeletons. That's why projectile protection's so good. All right, they're all bunched up together. Puts them so good with that big O spell. I wonder if this can like one-shot these guys. Oh my. That deals... I really need to see how much damage that deals. Oh, interesting. I do hear gas, so I do assume that gas can spawn. There is a gas that happens to be over here somewhere. Now, after I open this chest, I have no idea what's going on here, but boy, they really want me to grab a scythe here. You know what? After all of that, I would say that was a pretty clean run. That was really nice. We got tons of blaze rods, tons of gas tiers, tons of general loot. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and a bunch of malum essence or spirits, I mean, which we're going to utilize later on when we have to get into malum. But I mean, outside of everything else, I would say, yeah, definitely a good loot run, and I enjoyed every minute of that. Now that I'm back, I'm sure we're going to be doing more adventuring in the future, so yeah, might as well upgrade our backpacks to max tier. Beautiful. And this is very large here with tons of upgrade slots. Now that I'm back, though, some things that I also want to get started, and I probably should have done this a while ago, is bought a Nautilus shell. Believe it or not, a Nautilus shell is going to be incredibly important because we're going to need to brew some potions. And there's nothing worse than not being able to accelerate the potion brewing process. We're going to need to make, I mean, at least 8 or 9 different full processes of this. So yeah, about 18, give or take. But the Nautilus shell, well, that's going to be super helpful. This allows us to make a temporal pouch, basically a time in the bottle. But we do need to get ourselves some gold clusters, and we should have some waiting for us up here. We'll just combine up those gold clusters, and voila, we now have the blocks of raw gold, everything needed to craft a temporal pouch. And from this point forward, our time is now going to be stored. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to effectively use my time here. I want to try my best, but we may be able to get by with just one brewing stand. I mean, I do have a few minutes saved in here. I don't think I can use or accelerate it that much, but a little bit will go a long way. So gas tiers, I'm just going to take a few of those, and we can store some of these items in here. I mean, what I really need to do is I need to place in our wart. I need to get the blaze in here. And I mean, we're just doing the basics, right? We're doing super basic brewing to be able to get those regeneration potions. So we'll put our normal water in here. I'm going to accelerate this as much as I can. That's going to have to do. That's going to get us the awkward potions. And we're just going to use this to keep crafting up our awkward potions. And then after that, I'm going to swap out the nether warts, put in the gas tiers, and then just convert all of these. 2 times is better than nothing. So now that I've got all of the potions brewed up, I did get super lucky and I got a golden axe with silk touch on it. So I can just pop over here and grab all of these shells, and we could also level this up. I think, though, by the time we get all this done, getting silk touch off of things won't be as difficult, especially now that we got blaze rods, because we can actually make tomes from Apotheosis that can just easily rip enchants off of gear. But we need all 15 of these bookshelves plus 1, by the way. So technically 16. And we need to craft up about 16 of these hell shells. And I do have all of my potions of regeneration all ready to go. And I think I have more than 16 in here, but 16 is the amount that was needed. And also 16 blaze rods, all of which we're going to use to craft this up. Notice how this is pulling out of my inventory, by the way. This is where I said that, man, ours storage lectern has some really nice features, and this is one of them. So now I'm just going to place down the 15 hell shelves that I have. And like I said, kind of in a decorative manner. It doesn't really matter too much. I'm going to place these kind of like I had them there. There's that. Place that there. That easily works. We can't go up 2 because I didn't increase the height, but you can increase the height, I guess. I'm going to just place it right there. Actually, that's the one I need. So perfect. Let's actually get that back. Oh, and these we can just break with a normal pickaxe. But now that we have this, this is everything we need. The reason I made 15 of them is because we need to be able to make the infused health shelves. In my opinion, this is like the easiest way to do this. So we needed to get to at least 45 on the Eterna and at least 30 on the Quanta. And wouldn't you notice there, we have 60 on the Quanta and 45. Now, the higher the Quanta, the more expensive the level requirement is going to be in this particular case. But honestly, if you have the mob farm set up, look at that. I mean, levels are the last thing you're worried about. So if you're pulling the levels from here and storing it inside this experience holder, what I want to do now is I want to set this to 45 because that is the levels I think we're going to need for this. It may be a little bit higher. Yeah, you can see right here, 45 is the level. And as soon as I do this, we now get an infused health shelf. And what I'm able to do is I'm able to take this, and actually I can take 2 shelves, I think, and replace this with an infused health shelf. We're getting closer to only needing a few shelves around. And I think this is enough. Oop, nope. We're going to need one more infused health shelf before we have enough to fully swap it out, I do believe. No, I think we did have it, right? Look at this again. Was it 44? And it showed infusion? Infusion, yeah, the criteria is not met. But whenever we put this back, this is where I said the Quanta went up right here to 62, and now it's 47 levels. So 47, and then we can infuse. Now I can get rid of this, for example, down here, and we can use our Jade to be able to tell if it's infused or not. It says infused health shelf. This one's a regular health shelf. And I think now we can take 2 of these off the top. And it kind of helps reduce the price back down again. Criteria not met. Okay, we're going to have to throw another regular health shelf back. And then that should be enough. There we go. And then that's 46 to do the infusion. Now, my goal here is to be able to make these deep shelves. And to be able to make the deep shelves, so we need to take dormant deep shelves and we need to infuse those as well. The infusion cost for this is going to be 60. A way for us to get to 60 is going to be using infused health shelves. But we also got to keep in mind that Arcana also needs to be increased, which we'll worry about later. And Quanta requires at least 40. And the infused health shelf, every time we place one down, gives us +5, but only up to 60. So we kind of got to keep that in mind. And so really, we're only going to need like 5 of these, or sorry, 12 of these. So we're essentially going from 15 regular health shelves to about 12 infused health shelves. So I've now hit Eterna at 60, Quanta at 75, but Arcana we are definitely lacking. There's a couple of ways we can get Arcana. I do believe like candles, for example, are a way that we can build up Arcana, and this is per singular candle. So we can actually have 4 candles in a single block space, and that does count towards that Arcana 1.5 for each candle in that single block space. Oh my goodness, there was an explosion in my mob farm. But we can also make glowing shells, which do give us 33.33% Arcana. Now, these don't have caps on them, by the way, so you can actually get them up to 100 or what have you. So now what we should do here is take all of our infused health shelves and technically upgrade them to the glowing version, because that's going to give us some Arcana here as well. So glowing hell shelves, well, we'll make 12 of them. Yeah, that's going to work. And would you looky there? Oh, we're already at Eterna 60, Quanta at 75, and we have our Arcanus at 30. Now, Quanta, like I said, makes things more expensive, but what we could do is use other things to technically reduce it. But like I said, I'm not really worried about it here. Ellen shelves are, by the way, a good way you can reduce that Quanta, but keep in mind, it also deducts your Eterna, meaning that you are going to need to replenish that Eterna with something else. Another one that's pretty good is just having amethyst clusters about. This actually reduces Quanta in a percentage, so 1% for every cluster you have, and it also gives you a bonus of Eterna, which is really not going to change anything with our current setup. And an easy way for us to get those is by using an exchanging gadget with Silk Touch on it. I'm going to have some cobblestone on here, and I'm just going to exchange these out. And this is going to Silk Touch those, and it's going to actually give them to me in cluster form. I mean, these things can really start to add up. We can place like a cluster here, 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 and we can start to see that Eterna is already down to 72% from 75. I believe it's what it was at. They can even go back on this. Just around, really. 67% already. Pretty nice. Now, I'm unsure why, but our amethyst clusters also somehow managed to bring down our Arcanus by a little bit. I didn't even see that stat being deducted, unless it just happens to be the faces of these being covered has blocked it. Like I said, sometimes it may not even be worth it. Yeah, I think the faces being blocked might have caused some problems. Just needed some cracked deep slate here to sort of push us along. So now we can actually make these dormant deep shelves. Let's see, how many are we actually going to need for this? So we've done this part. Okay, so we need at least 6 of these because we also need the echoing deep shelf here. Okay, perfect. And so we should be ready to go. We are going to need up to level 60 here. Beautiful. And now we can do infusions on these, and look at that. We now have regular deep shelves, which we could use to upgrade this even further. Might be something that we're probably going to want to do outside of simply just making these for our quests. And now if we head back over here to our Wayfinder, I just need to buy another Echo Shard for right now, because I think we have another one back at the base, and we just need 2 to be able to complete this. But soon we're going to have as many as we really need, because we should be able to duplicate these with infusion. But this does require the echo shelves. For example, just placing down 2 of those echo shelves, we can now increase this up to 70 levels. And now I can put this in. Look at that. We get 4 of them. Put that in, we get 4 more. And we just keep doing this. But at this point, we need to make our Enchanter happy. So we just need 2 of these to be upgraded. And that should satisfy. Look at this. And give me something good on this random roll. A netherite basalt generator. Okay, I don't know how useful that's going to be. What is basalt even used for in this? I have no idea, but I now have one. I would have preferred a netherite cobblestone version. I guess I could craft that though. But now that we have this, let's go back to spawn and let's have a little chit chat. All right, let's go see what the Enchanter now has to say after we have completed this. Let's complete that stage. Oh boy. Seek the other echoes to continue your path. May we meet again. Should you embrace the deep, but my shop remains open, should you require it. And the WERK system will be updated with more knowledge soon. Very nice. And everything, like I said, should be unlocked, which it was unlocked earlier. But now back to the world engine where it's time to build. We need to submit our things, and then we assemble the world engine. Oh boy. The things are happening in the back, I believe. I don't know why I was able to fly here. Right there. Look at that. And it has now assembled it into the back. Now, honestly, to complete the next chapter, this can be done in like just mere seconds, I believe. Yeah, there's nothing really required here. I mean, we do have to make atomic alloy, but that's really just crushed obsidian and diamonds inside of our pre-existing metallurgic infusers, which is going to take like a second. So now at this point, I just need, I believe, 4 of these will work for a single enriched. So yeah, we'll be able to get this going very, very soon. Let's see, let's divide this up. So 3 more of those, and then we can have all of these converted. And I mean, at this point, we are already producing atomic alloy, so all of these are just kind of working in their slow speed. I do need to work on some upgrades for these, but I mean, just using some basic power, just letting it work while I work on other things, pretty easy to do. This is why I like to make like more than one metallurgic infuser getting started. Now that I have all of this, we can actually upgrade our heat pipe, which is required. It's basically saying, hey, this is how you're going to be able to transfer some heat. When we get that all the way up to the ultimate thermodynamic conductor. Look at that bad boy. All right, let's head back over, and I think we have enough power inside of our tiered machine. Like we have 4 mil. I hope that's enough. We just need to send this. Oh, I am missing a few infused alloy actually. Oh, let's just head right back real quick. Oh no, I gotta grab a few more alloy because we need 4 of that, and then back to the world engine. Just in time. Look at that. We'll toss this, the magnetic coils, and also the steel casing. And then we just hope we have enough power. Wow, that actually happened really fast. We do have enough power, and there's our superheating element. That's why I said that pretty darn quick to be able to get to this point. And now we just got to go back, and we also need to make and turn that superheating element into a resistive heater. That's very, very straightforward. Head back to the base. I bet we can just craft this right away. So we need to make a resistive heater. If we just look at what this is used for by hitting U, we see an energy tablet and voila, a resistive heater. And this is, like I said, worth doing regardless. We are going to need heat inside of here for some crafts. We get some more monies. And the gift of the stones, one always is worth kind of rolling for. And we got another netherite basalt generate. Wow, my luck is just not with me today. What, 2 in a row? But now we head back and we got to give a talk to the fabricator, completing that stage of the quest.
I hope I was able to help you with something, though there's not much I could offer in the first place, and less now. The more competent echoes should have better things for you to do. If you're interested, I hope my shop can provide you with some useful and fun items.
And of course, the WERK system will be updated with more knowledge very, very soon. And yes, these are definitely going to be items we're probably going to be coming back to throughout. There's just a lot of good stuff here. And we're now tasked to go back to our original echo and, well, complete this stage. Tier 2, done. Very, very nice. Now it says your world engine can now support tier 3 upgrades. The WRK will now reboot 3 additional archives. We have the Echo of the Infernal, carries knowledge of the underworld, a place where few have survived. The Echo of the Catalyst, manage machines and tools designed to accelerate your progress. And it says the Echo of the Lightbender, manipulates quantum and subatomic machines. Tasks return to me once you have completed the Catalyst and at least one of the other 3 world engine upgrades. Very, very nice, which I think we're going to work on next episode, because today, my goodness, we are all out of time. What a fun-filled episode. Hopefully you did enjoy today's episode, and if you did, be sure to click that subscribe button. If you haven't already, well, give this video a huge thumbs up. With that being said, it's time to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks, well, that's going to go out to Pex. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and just supporting my content in one of the best ways possible. You absolute boss. And as always, guys, I appreciate you watching. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.